pretty simple intro. It goes something like this. I'm telling them, calling from LenCred that they had an appointment set up for this time today. I have them tell me up front what it is they're looking for so they can get all the information out. And then I kind of curtail that opening sequence in regards to what they're telling me. So if they're a real estate investor looking for hard money, I have maybe a different strategy than I would someone that owns a bakery. But simply put, I just say, LenCred's a company we've been around for 14 years. We're an Inc. 500 company. We're part of what's called the fintech industry, which is short for financial technology. We design software that tracks lending algorithms. So what does that mean? We look at your overall personal credit profile and the metrics that make up that credit profile and how we could potentially make that personal credit profile more fundable in the eyes of the lenders based on the metrics that they find most important. We also look at your overall business credit profile. And over time, obviously, the goal is to help that overall business credit profile stand on its own financially, so you no longer have to personally guarantee all your funding options. Pretty simple, right? What I have here in front of me is a document where I transcribe the overall metrics in your personal credit profile and a series of questions that will help me understand exactly what it is you're trying to do with your business when it comes to either short-term funding or long-term funding, right? And I get right into it. So it's nothing magical. It's just basically getting into it. When I get into the boss document, I'm actually selling the custom strategic plan. So it's very important to create a sense of urgency from the very beginning. So I let them know that, in 24 hours, I'm going to send this custom plan. They can look at this document that I'm initializing today as a financial roadmap for their business, because a lot of companies have a business plan, but if they ever pair that up with the funding options, they're going to need to grow their business, right? So we're going to break it down into phases, right? Phase 1 is months 1 through 3. Phase 2 is months 4 through 6, yada, yada, yada. So when I'm in the boss document, I get into that, how that works, what some typical strategies would be, because I already know what they're going to be, and most of you do as well. So when I'm setting up that second phone call, there has to be a sense of urgency, right? So for example, there's a team of appointment setters, account executives in our Scottsdale office that have access to my calendar. And what they're going to do is if they see an open spot, they're going to fill it, right? The first time I saw a custom strategic plan as a client of LenCred, it was a little overwhelming to me, right? There's a lot of graphs and pie charts and strategies and a bunch of cool stuff that was a little intimidating for me. So luckily I had someone on the phone that I could go over that with me, explain it to me and how it works. And I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. So, at this time tomorrow, we're going to set an appointment. I need you to be on that appointment, right? I'm going to send over your custom strategic plan, typically 10 to 15 minutes prior to the call. So you have it in front of you. When I get on the call with the custom strategic plan, everything's about completing the enrollment today, right? So just the word tracks are always, when you become a client today, when we complete your enrollment today, when you receive your first call from Lois Salmon or someone on her team within the next 24 hours, after your enrollment today, right? So I'm constantly putting me in that position that, okay, this needs to be done in a timely manner. The cool thing about enrolling someone into this program is not only have we talked to them about their business banking relationships, right? So we know how much money they have in their personal checking account. We know how much money they have in their business checking accounts. We also know their revolving trade lines. So we know how much credit card availability they have when it comes to enrolling in the program. So I never send them I never refresh the CSP so they can see the payment options until I get to the payment options, right? So once I go through the bios, I do talk a little bit about Lois and Sean and Jack, and then I say, below Jack, your custom strategic plan, there should not be anything below Jack. Is that correct? And they say yes. I click the button for a full pay, which is a $39.50 or $49.50. right? And I say, okay, now something should have popped up in front of me. I have the enrollment tool. It's going to help you get enrolled in the program today, right? And I'm going to be able to show you some different options in regards to getting enrolled. So the first thing we're going to look at on your screen, if you don't see it, just refresh your address bar and it'll pop up and say, okay, I see it. Okay, the total cost for enrollment is $4,950. If you scroll down, I reiterate, we don't charge any fees, right? So any additional fee disclosures, we already talked about in the strategies of your custom strategic plan. So this is all you're going to pay, right, to build out your personal and business credit profiles. So I show them that, for example, you're going to receive 51 consulting sessions. These are going to be $99, per session. And how would you like to pay for that? Would you like to put that on a credit card or a debit card? Now, the most important thing, guys, when it comes to phone sales, and you've probably all heard this 1,000 times, is the first person that talks loses. So I'm sure Coco's on this call. Coco's never done phone sales before. He's always done face-to-face sales. And I told him that's what the mute button is for. So every time you ask a closing question, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to want to say something, press that mute button. Now, sometimes you'll get an objection. That's why prior to showing them what the cost is going to be, I always ask them, before we get into your enrollment today, is there any questions or concerns that you have for me prior to getting you enrolled in the program? Because I want to get those out of the way. So typically, the only objections I'm going to have moving forward are in regards to money, right? And that's the easy part. So they're going to say something along the lines of, well, if I put, this money on my debit card or my credit card, is that going to affect my credit score, my utilization? You'll get questions like this, because the first thing I want to do is I want to always go for the full pay. And I can tell them that they can use their credit card to finance themselves into the business. So I don't have this type of money sitting around. Well, I know that they have a Bank of America card or they Chase card that will hold the full amount. So I said, why don't you put it on your Chase card, right? Then as we make your personal and business credit profiles more robust and we get into additional funding options for your business, you can pay that off at your leisure, right? So that's my first, I guess, overcoming the objection when it comes to, I don't have that much money to put down. My next one that I go into is simply, okay, so obviously dealing with startups and early stage companies, the majority of businesses that we deal with don't have $5,000 budgeted for a program that they didn't know existed 3 days ago. I mean, I usually laugh at that point. Ha, 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 ha. So as long as we try to keep the bar low when it comes to enrollment, because not everyone qualifies for this program and you do, right? So what we're going to do is, as long as you put some skin in the game, we can finance you over a 12 or 24 month period. How much can you afford to put down today? Right? Mute button. They're typically going to say something. Sometimes people say, I can put half down, and I laugh. So the most amount you can put down is 2,000. Something I forgot to mention before is I've already sent them a DocuSign agreement at this point, because as we're talking about money, I'm heading back into that DocuSign agreement and say, let's execute that agreement. Let's execute that agreement. So they're going to give me some type of answer. I'm always going to try to get a little bit more. But if they say they can put down, I had somebody the other day say they can put down $400. Okay. I never tell them that they have an option to put down $500. So one of the things that I find very simple is I never want the client on the other end of the phone to think that I can make a financial decision on behalf of LenCred, right? It's out of my pay grade. So if I'm trying to get them enrolled in the program and they don't have a lot of funds to put down, and it's becoming blatantly obvious that they're a $500 down, I'll ask them, can you afford $500 today? And I know they can. And this is when I go into, let me do this. Normally, in order to qualify for the program, it takes a minimum of $1,000 down, right? But if you can make a commitment to put $500 down today, I will go to bat for you. So here's what's going to happen. I need to put you on hold. And I need to contact a decision maker over at LenCred, because obviously this is out of my pay grade. And if I can get this approved for you, then we're going to do the enrollment over the phone together. Because if for any reason you don't enroll, that makes me look bad. And in the future, if I have another client, right, that needs help enrolling into the program, they may not help that person because you didn't enroll today. So do I have your commitment? Yes. Okay. Then I just put them on hold, get a cup of coffee, whatever the case may be. I come back, say, congratulations. In your email is LenCred's DocuSign agreement. Let's go ahead and execute that together. Make sure you don't have any questions in regards to the LenCred agreement. I never say the word contract. We walk through together, and then I say, okay, you should now receive a second email, not the DocuSign email saying that you completed your agreement, but an additional email from Ask Me Anything. This is where we're going to put in that payment information today. So let me know when you receive that. Okay, great. Let's walk through that together. So then once we execute that agreement, the last thing that you want to do, guys, is once you've enrolled somebody, is say, congratulations, and hang up the phone. Because you don't want them to have buyer's remorse. You don't want them to miss Pat Mickelson's phone call when it comes to the DocuSign agreement that they may have to execute in regards to getting finance into the program. So you want to make sure that you wrap them up and you tell them every single thing that's going to happen next, and you get them to look forward to something, right? So say, okay, this is what the next step's going to be. Either today or tomorrow morning, you're going to receive a call from Pat Mickelson in our finance department. He's going to tell you that he's calling you on a recorded line. And he's going to read some verbiage from Monterey, right? That this is recorded verbiage that they need him to read over the phone. After he reads that verbiage, he's going to email you a DocuSign agreement, which is you're going to execute, that's going to fully enroll you in the program. So you're not enrolled until you execute your finance agreement. So make sure you do that immediately once you receive that email. Once you receive that email, that's going to trigger emails to your team. So Lois, Sean, and Jack, or someone on their team is going to call you. If they're not available to call you at that time, they're going to have one of their personal assistants call you, right? And they're going to set up that initial welcome call, and they're going to get right into it.